My dear friends, it's really very interesting to hear Peter in the first reading today. Bold, courageous, and saying it to the face of the people who were coming after them, the apostles. We must obey God rather than men. That was a powerful statement coming from somebody like Peter. If you look back a few weeks before this time, Peter was the same person who was so scared, so afraid of his life that he denied Jesus 3 times. But now is the same Peter who became courageous, who became bold, and who knew that his life was at stake. Yet, he stood firm and told them to their face, we must obey God rather than men. You begin to ask yourself, what made the difference? What changed between this guy who was so afraid as to deny Jesus 3 times, and now this same guy being bold enough, being courageous enough, no longer scared about losing his life, and facing these officials, the Sanhedrin, with boldness? The Holy Spirit. That's the power of the Holy Spirit. The Spirit that empowers us. The Spirit that enlightens us. The Spirit that gives us the courage to stand firm and defend our faith. That was what made the difference. Because the very moment the disciples of Jesus received the Holy Spirit, they became new. That very moment, everything about their lives changed. They were no longer afraid. They became bold. They became courageous. And that's what the Spirit can do. And thinking about what the Spirit can do and what it means to submit ourselves to the Holy Spirit, because that was exactly what the apostles did. They submitted themselves and they allowed the Spirit of God to take possession of them. And in so doing, they received a transformation that can only come from the Spirit. We have all received the Holy Spirit. At the time of our baptism, at the time of our confirmation, and actually every day, because the Spirit of God is still moving around. But the question is, how open are we? How ready are we to submit ourselves to the Spirit so that the Spirit will be able to do what God has sent it out to do, which is to empower us? How open are we? If we are looking for somebody who really opened up himself and allowed himself to be directed by the Spirit of God, look no further. Look at the man we are celebrating his feast day today, St. Joseph. Despite all the challenges that he faced, despite all the obstacles that he encountered, Joseph submitted himself entirely to the direction of the Holy Spirit, was ready and willing to obey whatever God called him to do, knowing that he would never be deceived by God, and he was never deceived. Joseph became a good example of what it means to totally submit ourselves and allow ourselves to be guided by the Spirit of God. The apostles also showed us a good example, and in their own lives, we were able to see what the Spirit can do when we allow the Spirit to take possession of us. So, we are all being invited, my dear friends. We are preparing very soon for the Feast of Pentecost. A day that we are being reminded of what happened in that upper room where the apostles were with Mary. As we are getting ourselves ready to celebrate this gift, may we at this moment continue to open ourselves to the guidance of the Holy Spirit, allowing the Spirit to lead us in everything that we do, and knowing that when we do so, we will always be doing the will of God, and the promise of eternal heaven will be ours on the last day. In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit, amen.